We used to lie in bed and dream about the future. Now she lies in hotel beds with her boss. Her name's Tina Walters. My wife for almost 6 years. She's 29. Beautiful in that disarming, approachable way, the kind that makes waiters linger and HR reps laugh a little too hard at her stories. Ambitious, polished, always one step ahead in every room she walks into. At home, though different, sharper, colder lately. I'm Greg, 33, cybersecurity consultant, ex-software engineer. Quiet, analytical. I fix broken systems, but I never thought I'd be married to one. Our life looked perfect on the outside. Condo in the city, weekend farmers markets, shared playlists and meal kits, and a dog named Pixel. No kids yet. She always said she wasn't ready. We had a system. She traveled a lot. Conferences, pharma dinners, regional sales meetings. I handled the house, the groceries, kept the lights on and the router running. I used to admire her ambition. I thought we were growing together. But lately, I felt like wallpaper. Something she passed by on her way out the door. I chalked it up to stress. Sales quotas. Corporate pressure. I didn't ask too many questions. Until I had to. It was a Thursday when the first crack appeared. I was coming back from the lobby, arms full of Amazon boxes. One of them wasn't mine. A white envelope, no return address. Just our names printed neatly, Greg and Tina Walters. Inside, a receipt. Embossed with gold lettering, the Langham, Cleveland. Romantic getaway package. Room 1204. 2 guests. Champagne and strawberries. Breakfast in bed. It was dated the same weekend she said she was visiting a potential client. I stared at it for a long time. Something hollow opened up in my chest. Not rage. Not yet. Just this awful, bottomless stillness. She came home that night smelling like hotel soap and wine. Kissed me like nothing was wrong. Told me the meeting went well. Said the client was really engaged. She showered. Laughed at something on her phone. Climbed into bed beside me and started scrolling through Zillow. Just for fun, she said. Boston suburbs are wild right now. I watched her. Every detail suddenly looked staged. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear. The way she stretched like a cat after too much wine. I said nothing. Not then. But I remember thinking, you don't book a romantic getaway package for a client. You book it for someone you're fucking. She kissed me that night with the same mouth she used to call him baby. I didn't confront her. Not yet. That's not how I'm wired. I'm not the scream and shatter type. I study systems. I monitor threats. I gather proof. So that's what I did. She left again the next morning, Chicago this time. Another conference. She wore a slate gray blazer and heels I hadn't seen before. Kiss me quickly. I'll be back Thursday, she said, grabbing her rolling suitcase. The door clicked shut. I just stood there. 10 minutes later, I walked into the bedroom, opened her side of the closet, and pulled down the travel bag she always brought with her. Bottom zipper. Hidden pouch. It was almost too easy. Inside, a burner phone. Cheap. Black. Cracked at the corner like it had been dropped once. My hands went cold. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at it. The screen lit up in my palm. No lock code. 3 unread messages. M. Miss you already. M. Booked us the suite again, winky face. M. Can't wait for Chicago. You in that red dress? Fuck. My jaw tightened. I opened the voicemail tab. There was only one saved. I hit play. You were amazing last night. I can still taste you. You always know how to take the edge off a long week. See you soon, babe. It wasn't my voice. He had that smooth, mid-40s arrogance. The kind of man who tips too little but laughs too loud. Polished, practiced, dangerous. The contact name just said M, but I already knew. Mark Denning, CEO, married, 2 kids. The same man Tina used to gush about when we still shared wine and real conversations. He's brilliant, she once told me. Such a visionary. He believes in me. I used to nod along, smile, support her. What a fucking idiot. Later that night, I sat at her vanity, the burner in one hand and my phone in the other. I mirrored the texts to my cloud drive. Voicemails too. Then wiped the device, zipped it back into her bag, and put it exactly where I found it. I went to bed early. Pretended to sleep. She texted me at 10:13 p.m. Long day. Early meetings. Love you. I didn't reply. Instead, I stared at the ceiling, playing his voicemail over and over in my head. Not to hurt myself, but to burn the tone into memory. Every cadence, every disgusting word. She thought she was clever. She thought she was in control. But she forgot what I do for a living. She said Mark was happily married. She forgot to say, to someone else. It's funny. People think cybersecurity is all code and firewalls and encryption. But most of the job is just watching. Quietly. Waiting for patterns to emerge. For mistakes to surface. Tina made plenty. I started by mapping out her trip history. Hotel confirmations in her email, Uber receipts, miles logged on our shared credit card. Cross-reference them with Mark's LinkedIn travel updates. Chicago for Q4 planning. Cleveland site visit. Leadership summit, Boston HQ. They matched. Every time. They weren't subtle. They were just confident no one was looking. That's the thing about powerful people. They get sloppy. I created a fake consulting firm, Beacon Strategies, LLC. Bought the domain, built a polished one-page site, and listed pharma ethics and sales protocols as our specialty. Then I sent a message to Mark's public company email. Our firm is assisting a portfolio investor interested in your sector. Would love to connect about Denning's vision for the future of sales integrity. He replied the same day. Appreciate the interest. Let's set something up. I didn't respond right away. I waited 2 days. Let him sweat. Then I sent a calendar invite. Same night as Tina's investor dinner. Same restaurant. Different table. I'd already booked the whole thing under a shell couple, Mr. and Mrs. Carrington. Hired 2 actors from a casting site. Gave them backstories. Talking points. Questions about company culture. Discrete moral landmines. But that was for later. Right now, I had a bigger goal. Confirm the affair from inside their bubble. Tina was predictable. She overshared when she felt smart. When she felt admired. That night, after her long day of back-to-backs, she came home glowing. Looser posture. Flushed cheeks. Lipstick faded. She poured herself a glass of wine, kicked off her heels. Then started talking. Like nothing was wrong. Mark's so energized about next quarter. He wants me to head the Northeast push. Can you believe that? I nodded. Just enough. He even said I'm the best rep he's had in 5 years. Like, I know he says that to people, but I think he meant it. She looked at me, eyes shining. I gave her the softest smile I could manage. That's amazing, babe. You deserve it. And I meant that, in the cruelest way possible. Because I'd already found their messages on her work iPad. She never logged out of Slack. She just minimized it like a child hiding a drawing. Mark, can't stop thinking about you in that red dress. Tina, behave, Mr. Denning. HR might be watching. Mark, let them watch. That wasn't even the worst one. Tina, you'd never leave her, would you? Mark, don't ask questions you don't want answers to. Tina, I'd leave Greg if you said the word. It hit me like a steel-toed boot to the ribs. Not because I still wanted her, but because I'd built my whole life around someone who could type those words and then come home and kiss me like she didn't mean them. I stayed up late that night, finalizing the actor briefings, confirming the HR consultant I'd looped into the trap. She thought she was climbing. She didn't realize she was standing on a ledge I was about to cut loose. She didn't know I was the one who booked it. Same restaurant she told me about over eggs and fake laughter. Client-facing but intimate, she said. Small group. Just the investors, Mark, and me. Right. I arrived an hour early. Sat at a different table in the far corner, coat draped over the back of the chair like any other patron. Watched. The room was lit like every upscale spot in Boston. Low, soft, flattering. Designed to make expensive people feel even more important. At 6:49 p.m., the actors walked in, Rachel and Thomas Carrington, dressed like old money. Confident but curious. Just a hint of naive moral optimism. Perfect for the part. At 6:55, the HR consultant arrived. Her name was Julia Myers, mid-40s, sharp, clean lines in her voice and blazer. I'd hired her through a private firm. Told her we were testing ethics protocols for leadership teams. She thought this was a paid audit. It was. Just not the kind she expected. At 7:01, Tina walked in with Mark, my wife, and her boss. She wore the red dress, the one from the texts. Tight but elegant. Hair pinned back, smile practiced. He had that CEO posture, relaxed, like nothing could touch him. Navy suit, no tie. Wedding ring still on. They greeted the Carringtons like old friends. Handshakes, half hugs, laughter, the kind of fake chemistry only salespeople and sociopaths can pull off. I watched Tina introduce herself to Julia, the HR rep. So glad you could make it. Mark mentioned this was a priority. Julia smiled, professional, always happy to talk about workplace culture. They all sat, ordered wine, talked about projections, leadership values, company growth. I watched Mark touch Tina's knee under the table. She didn't flinch. Rachel Carrington leaned forward. So how do you balance success and ethics in a company this size, especially with close-knit teams? Mark chuckled. Trust and transparency. We don't micromanage, but we also don't tolerate secrets. The irony was acidic. Julia smiled politely. Interesting, because we've been seeing a trend in executive teams where personal relationships begin to blur professional lines. Tina's fork paused midair. Mark's brow twitched. Excuse me? Tina asked. Oh, not you specifically, Julia said. Just in general. Like when higher-ups get involved with junior staff. Can create power imbalance. Legal risk. Thomas chimed in. Especially if one of them's married. It's a compliance nightmare. The air shifted. The wine tasted more like vinegar. Tina glanced at Mark. He didn't look back. Well, I'm sure this team would never do anything inappropriate, Tina said, voice too light, too high. Of course not, Julia said. That would be grounds for a very public internal investigation. Silence. That's when I stood up, walked toward the table slowly, calmly. Mark looked up first. His eyes narrowed, confused. Then something worse, recognition. Tina turned, and I saw it, that split-second flicker. Panic, then denial, then the slow, crashing wave of oh God no. Greg, she said, voice tight. I smiled, set my hand on the empty chair beside Julia. Just here to support my wife. I didn't speak for the first few minutes. Just sat, smiled. Tina blinked like she was trying to wake up from a nightmare in heels. Mark reached for his water, but his hand was shaking. Just a little. Not enough for anyone else to notice. But I noticed. Julia, the HR rep, turned to me politely. I'm sorry, and you are? Greg Walters, cybersecurity consultant. Husband. I turned my eyes to Tina. Well, former husband. Technically, we're in a transitional phase. The Carringtons said nothing. Perfectly trained. Just enough curiosity in their silence. Julia looked confused for half a second, then something clicked in her eyes. She'd been in this kind of room before. She knew a setup when she saw one. I see, she said slowly. This is not how I thought tonight would go. Me neither, I said. I was going to make pasta and ignore the part where my wife was sleeping with her boss. Tina flinched like I'd slapped her. Her mouth opened, then closed. Greg, can we talk outside? No, I said. Calm. Surgical. We're all here now. Transparency, remember? Mark stood up like he might leave, then realized he couldn't. Not with the actors watching. Not with Julia watching. Not with me watching. I reached into my jacket, pulled out the manila envelope, set it on the table like a final course. Before dessert, I said, I brought something sweet. Tina didn't touch it. Mark did. His fingers hovered before he opened the flap. Inside, printed screenshot of their text thread. Transcribed voicemail. I can still taste you. Hotel receipt. Langham, Cleveland, romantic package. Still framed from security footage. Them kissing in the hallway, her hand on his chest. I didn't need to narrate. The silence did it for me. Julia reached over and lifted the papers slowly, eyes scanning each one like evidence in a disciplinary hearing. Because that's exactly what it was. Mark turned to Tina, voice low and venom-laced. You said you didn't keep anything. Tina hissed. You said you deleted your side. I did. He must have. No, I cut in. You didn't delete. You minimized. That's not the same thing. Julia looked at me. How did you access all this? She uses my iCloud account to back up her travel photos. She forgot to turn off sync. Not very secure. Tina looked like she was going to be sick. Rachel Carrington cleared her throat, voice gentle. Ms. Walters, as an outside investor, I'd like to clarify. Is this kind of personal relationship standard in your company? Tina didn't answer. Julia did. It's not. And this is going to trigger an internal review. Immediately. Mark sat back, pale. I looked at him. Really looked. Here was the man my wife had risked everything for. He looked smaller now. Human. Weak. You know what they say about HR, Mark? I said quietly. They don't care until it's public. Tina stood suddenly. Her chair screeched across the polished floor. I'm done, she said, grabbing her purse. You were done the minute you booked that hotel? I said. This is just the confirmation receipt. I didn't say goodbye. I just stood, buttoned my jacket, nodded at the Carringtons, and left through the back entrance. Quiet. Clean. Let the silence eat them alive. By the time I got home, she was already there, sitting on the edge of the bed like a child waiting to be scolded, still in the red dress. Her heels were off. Her phone was clutched in her hand like it might protect her. Greg got. No. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. One word. That was enough. She followed me into the kitchen. No mascara. No lies ready. Just chaos behind the eyes. You ambushed me, she said. I opened the fridge. Pulled out a bottle of water. No, Tina. I invited you to dinner. With fake investors? With a fucking HR consultant? I took a sip. You're the one who brought your boss. I just added dessert. She broke then. The mask she'd worn for months cracked. Her voice hitched. You don't understand what it's been like. He saw me. He appreciated me. I nodded. So you fucked him? It wasn't like that. You lied to me. For months. You lied with your whole body. She started crying. Real tears, maybe. But that's the thing. When someone's lied to your face long enough, even their pain looks staged. I didn't say much else. Just walked past her. Locked the office door behind me. She slept on the couch that night. I didn't check if she cried herself to sleep. Didn't care. The next morning, her badge didn't work. Company policy. HR had already flagged her credentials before I left the restaurant. Julia didn't waste time. By noon, Tina was locked out of her company laptop. Her email. Her Slack. By 3 p.m., her work phone buzzed once. Then nothing. Administrative leave. Indefinite. Mark didn't answer her texts. Of course he didn't. The man had a board to answer to and a marriage still technically intact. Tina spiraled. Cried in the kitchen. Threw her charger against the wall. Screamed into a pillow like the world had just decided to ruin her life out of nowhere. I watched. Quietly. No comfort. No rescue. Just justice. That night, I sent a package to Brookline. Addressed to Mrs. Natalie Denning. Inside, printed transcript of Mark's voicemail. Screenshot of his texts to Tina. A USB drive with the hallway footage. No note. Didn't need one. She came home crying. Not for me. For her job. I was on the porch when I heard the door slam. She stormed in like a hurricane with no wind left. Red eyes. Makeup streaked. Hair pulled into a knot like she hadn't had time to finish pretending she was okay. They suspended me, she said, voice cracking. Indefinitely. No warning. Just gone. I didn't move. Do you want to talk about it? I asked. She blinked, surprised by the calm in my voice. She still thought I might offer her a soft place to land. HR said there's an ongoing investigation. But it's bullshit, Greg. It's him. Mark threw me under the bus. I nodded. Classic Mark. He said we were in this together, she whispered. He said he had my back. She sank onto the couch, gripping the edge like the room was spinning. I gave up everything for him. Everything. She looked up, eyes begging. You have to believe me. He used me. He took advantage. And that's when I started recording. Phone propped under a notepad on the coffee table. Audio only. Clean. Crisp. Every word she said, crystal clear. I never planned to hurt you, Greg. It just happened. But Mark, he said he loved me. Said we'd make it work. And now? Now he won't even return my calls. His wife froze their joint account. His board wants him out. And I'm just collateral damage. Collateral damage. That's what she thought she was. Like she hadn't made every choice with both eyes open. You sent it all to her, didn't you? She asked. I didn't answer. Greg, please. I'm losing everything. The company. My reputation. I can't even get through the front door anymore. She stood. Walked toward me. Reached out. Don't let this end like this. Please. You know me. I looked her in the eye for the first time that day. Yeah, I do now. She sat back down, sobbing. Loud, messy. The kind of crying you do when you finally realize the ground isn't coming back. I ended the recording. Saved it to the drive. Then uploaded a selection of her quotes to a private folder titled Board Materials. Marked it anonymous. Typed one line in the body of the email. For your internal review. I'm sure shareholders will appreciate transparency. Attached audio file. Hit send. Corporate gossip spreads fast. Screenshots go faster. The audio leak hit Reddit first, reposted by someone in the HR world who recognized her voice. Probably Julia. Maybe one of the Carringtons. Doesn't matter. It started in a small thread. CEO sleeping with rep, recorded confession and HR fallout. A few hundred upvotes. Then it exploded. Comments rolled in like a tsunami. Typical abuse of power. She said she'd leave her husband for a promotion. Yikes. Imagine being Greg. Her name trended on Twitter by morning. Hashtag pharma affair. Hashtag red dress receipts. Then came the think pieces. Workplace romance or exploitation. The ethical cost of corporate affairs. Someone started a TikTok series. Corporate Crimes and Confessions, Episode 1. Tina and Mark. They used her voice. That broken, desperate line. I gave up everything for him. I didn't post anything. Didn't comment. Didn't retweet. Didn't have to. The internet did what it always does, turned scandal into spectacle. She tried to apply elsewhere. Smaller firms. Startups. Even remote work platforms. I had Google Alerts set up for her name. Every time she submitted a resume, I'd get pinged. Every time a hiring manager searched her, they'd find everything. The screenshots. The leak. The dinner photos someone from the restaurant accidentally shared online. She was radioactive. Her LinkedIn went private. Her Instagram deactivated. But it was too late. The damage was done. She sat at the kitchen table one night, scrolling her phone in silence. No tears left. Just empty, blinking rage. This isn't fair, she said. I didn't answer. I made one mistake. I looked at her. No, I said. You made 1,000. You just thought no one was watching. She slammed her phone down. You ruined me. I stood slowly, picked up her phone, scrolled to the screenshot of her text to Mark. I'd leave Greg if you said the word. I held it up. You did that yourself. It wasn't dramatic. There was no screaming match. No begging. No shattered dishes or slaps across the face. Just silence. And paperwork. The envelope was thick. My lawyer made sure of that. Every clause tightened like a noose. Infidelity penalty. Asset forfeiture. Non-disparagement that only applied one way, mine. She sat across from me at the dining table, hair tied back, sweatshirt loose on her shoulders like she was shrinking into it. She looked tired. Older. This is cruel, she whispered. I didn't look up. Cruel was fucking your boss while pretending to love me. She blinked hard. Swallowed. The divorce agreement was 12 pages. She flipped through it with trembling fingers, like maybe one of the pages would suddenly say, just kidding. You're keeping the house? Correct. And the Tesla? Correct. And 70% of our savings? Technically 72. 3. My lawyer likes decimals. She stared at the pen in her hand like it might poison her. Greg, please. I leaned back in my chair, calm as a cloud. This is what you wanted. Freedom. A new chapter. Well, turn the page. She signed. One page at a time. Her signature got smaller with each one. When she got to the end, she just sat there. What happens now? She asked. I stood. Collected the papers. Now you move out. Where am I supposed to go? You'll figure it out. You're smart. Ambitious. Remember? She didn't reply. Just sat there hollow. Greg, she said. Can we talk just one last time? I walked to the front door. Opened it. This was the last time. Then I handed her the envelope and closed the door behind her. The email came at 2:47 a.m. Subject? Please. No greeting. No fluff. Just 2 lines. You've made your point. Please don't send anything else. It was from Mark's personal Gmail, not his corporate one. That had been suspended weeks ago. He was spiraling. The board had frozen his stock options. His wife had filed a separation petition. His LinkedIn now said on sabbatical. His face had started to appear on leadership cautionary tale panels. Quietly, of course. No one wanted to name names. But they all knew. And still he reached out. Like I owed him mercy. I didn't reply with words. Just a Dropbox link. No message. No subject. Inside. Security footage. Langham Hotel, Cleveland. Hallway. Night of the client trip. Timestamped. High resolution. No sound, but the image said enough. Tina is stepping out of room 1204 in a silk robe. Hair down. lips swollen, smiling. Mark following 10 seconds later, adjusting his tie, looking around, smirking, hands sliding around her waist. They kissed. Slow, confident, like they had all the time in the world. The camera caught everything. The moment he pulled her closer. The look in his eyes. The moment that wasn't just cheating. It was arrogance. I watched the file upload finish. Then I logged out, closed my laptop, and went to bed. She left on a Tuesday. It was raining. Not hard. Just that cold, whispery kind of rain that makes the world feel like it's apologizing for something it can't fix. She didn't say goodbye. Didn't even knock on my office door. I only knew she was gone when the silence stretched longer than usual. Her closet was empty. Drawers too. The perfume I hated gone. The charger she always stole, still plugged into the wall. She'd left her wedding ring in the top drawer of the nightstand. No box. No note. Just metal. Cold. Meaningless. I sold it the next day. Took the cash. Bought noise-canceling headphones. Started wearing them every time I worked in the house. Every time I cleaned something that still had traces of her. Hair on the sink. Bobby pins in the laundry vent. Half-used lotion under the bathroom sink. I changed the locks that Friday. Didn't even wait for the divorce to finalize. She texted once. Can I grab a few more things? I replied with an address. A storage unit downtown. Locker 117. Code in the message. She never responded. Weeks passed. I heard from mutual friends that she'd moved in with a college roommate. Tiny apartment. Shared bathroom. No job offers. No interviews that made it past the Google search. Her new job ghosted her after the HR blog ran a piece titled, "The Cost of Confessions. When Employees Take Down the Company Culture." Tina wasn't named, but the quotes were hers. Verbatim. People put it together. The internet never forgets. I watched it all from a distance. Not with glee. Not with bitterness. Just peace. The kind of peace that comes after you finally stop waiting for someone to come home. The storage unit was a mess. Cardboard boxes, half-labeled. A busted lamp. Some of her old work heels shoved in without care. One of them still had the price tag on the sole. I stood there under the flickering fluorescent light, arms crossed, just staring. It smelled like dust and forgotten ambition. I wasn't supposed to be there. Legally, everything in the unit belonged to her. But the rental was still under my name. Auto pay, she never thought to update. I had one goal. Close the account. Cut the last string. But then I saw the folder. Black. Unmarked. Tucked between a broken Keurig and a box labeled kitchen stuff, maybe. Inside, handwritten notes. Printed emails. One of those HR leadership journals she used to obsess over. Dog-eared on a chapter titled, "When to Leverage Emotional Loyalty." And then, a letter. Folded neatly. Cream paper. My name written in ink she probably thought looked elegant. I opened it. Her handwriting. Perfect. Controlled. Greg, if you're reading this, then I guess I never came back for the rest of my things. Which says a lot, doesn't it? I don't know how to say I'm sorry in a way that you'll believe. I don't think you ever will. And honestly, I don't blame you. I made choices. I let ambition get ahead of honesty. I chased something shiny and stupid. And I lost everything real because of it. But for what it's worth, I loved you once. I really did. I hope you build something better than what we had. Something you don't have to question every time someone works late. Tina, I read it twice. Not because I cared, but because I needed to memorize the lie before I destroyed it. I slipped the letter back into the folder. Added one more page from my briefcase, the printed screenshot of her text to Mark. I'd leave Greg if you said the word. Then I closed the folder, wrapped it in brown paper, mailed it to her new address with no return label. Just a sticky note on top. You did. Mark thought it was over. The board suspended him. His wife kicked him out. The affair made headlines in the most humiliating way possible without ever saying his name. But men like Mark don't go down once. They pivot, rebrand, wait for the world to forget. He updated his LinkedIn. Advisor, startup mentor, executive in transition. Started showing up on webinars, panels, thought leader circles with recycled buzzwords and smoothed over scandals. Let's talk about resilience. Transparency builds trust. Lessons from the top. I watched from the sidelines. At first. Then I made a few calls. Cybersecurity isn't just my job, it's my network. I'd worked with two of Denning Pharma's largest compliance vendors. Quiet guys. Good guys. The kind who know how to listen. I sent them a single email. No attachments. No explanations. Just the subject line. SEC would love to hear about this. Inside, a line from an internal memo I'd found in Tina's files during the fallout. Mark's signature. Approving incentive payouts tied to off-label promotions, a major violation. It wasn't related to the affair. Not directly, but it painted a bigger picture. The kind of picture that keeps lawyers awake at night. Within a week, a quiet inquiry opened. Not public. Not yet. But enough to freeze him out of every boardroom he was trying to claw back into. Then came the whisper calls. The cautious texts. Hey, did you hear about Mark? I thought he was clean now. Why would the SEC look into that? He posted one last time on LinkedIn. Taking time for family. Stepping back from public engagements to focus on personal growth. Translation. They found something. Or they will. Either way, the door's closed. And stayed that way. I didn't celebrate. Didn't post a Medium essay about consequences or revenge. I just deleted his name from my inbox. Unfollowed his ghost accounts. And moved on. I moved in on a Sunday. New city. Smaller place. Open windows. No shared closet space. No echoes of perfume or arguments muffled behind a bathroom door. The walls were white. Fresh paint. The kind of clean that almost dares you to stain it. I didn't bring much. Just a laptop. Books. My French press. A framed photo of my parents. Pixel, our dog, stayed with me because even she didn't look at Tina the same after everything. The landlord called it a clean room. Said the last tenant was some kind of lab tech. The floors were smooth epoxy. Sterile. Quiet. It felt right. Clean. That word meant something different to me now. No more late-night texts. No more burner phones. No more pretending I didn't know what I knew. I built a desk in the corner, angled to catch the afternoon light. Set up my monitors. Started taking contracts again, consulting, code audits, security protocols. I liked the quiet rhythm of it. No one lied to me through email. No one kissed me and called someone else baby 2 hours later. Just work. Order. Sanity. One morning, I got coffee at a local spot. Sat in the corner, typing notes for a client pitch. A man came over. Mid-40s. Suit, but not stiff. You Greg Walters? I looked up. Nodded slowly. You probably don't recognize me, he said, smiling. Carrington. From the dinner. That was quite a performance. We shook hands. Firm. Respectful. I wasn't performing, I said. Exactly, he said. That's why it worked. He gave me a card. Said if I ever wanted to step out of consulting, there were people who valued strategic intelligence. Said the corporate world needed people who see through masks. I pocketed the card. Didn't promise anything. But it felt good to know. People were still watching. For the right reasons, this time. That night, I cooked dinner. Real food. Not takeout eaten out of plastic. Pixel curled at my feet while I chopped vegetables. I turned on music, something slow, no lyrics. Sat down to eat. And for the first time in months, I didn't check my phone. Didn't wonder if someone was lying to me on the other side of a screen. Just ate. In peace. You think you know someone. Until you see who they are when they think no one's watching. She used to call me boring. Safe. Said it like it was a flaw, like trust and stability were chains instead of gifts. Said I didn't take risks. That I lived too much in my head. Maybe. But the truth is, I was never boring. I was patient. And patience is dangerous when it finally moves. They thought they were untouchable, Tina and Mark. Hiding behind corporate lingo and red wine buzzwords. Synergy, loyalty, opportunity. All it took was one email. One dinner. One phone left on airplane mode when it shouldn't have been. She built a whole world behind my back. But I burned it with receipts. Not rage. Not fire. Precision. Last week, I got one final package. No return address. But I knew the handwriting. Inside, our wedding photo. Me in a rented tux, smiling like I could see a future. Her in white lace, gripping my hand like she meant it. On the back, she'd written just one line. I never stopped loving you. I stared at it for a long time. Then I pulled out a lighter. Set the corner on fire. Watched it curl and blacken and disappear. She wanted power. Validation. A spotlight. She got exposed. I was the quiet one. The boring husband. Until I wasn't.